Welcome back to Forza Naples. I'm Ian. That's Paul. Paul, it looked like we were going to get a torrential downpour, but the only torrential downpour we got was FC Naples scoring 3 goals, knocking off the defending USL League One champions Union Omaha 3-1 in front of a pretty decent-sized crowd for a Sunday on a holiday weekend. What did you make of the match?
Uh, First takeaway is I'm taking credit for my 4-0 scoreline prediction. You might be saying, how is that possible? The game was 3-1. You were wrong on both, but you're at the game. You know, we had an offsides that called back a goal. I contest that he was on, making it, 4 goals for us, and that penalty, not sold on that. So that takes away their one. Therefore, 4-0 win for FC Naples in Paul's record book.
I love it. Yeah, you got to give yourself some credit there. Yeah, overall, we've been asking kind of for a response now for the past couple weeks, and it seems like we finally got it. And I don't know if it was just the home field advantage, if it was the insane amount of humidity, if it's the weird pitch people seem to be complaining about online, which I think seems fine, but not sure what it was, or if we finally just did get our response, and that's more what it seemed like to me. Goals on Sunday night from Farine from the penalty spot, 20th minute. Let's start there. What did you make of the penalty?
So this, we talked about this off air. I think it's good for us to be completely honest on this podcast. And I think if you're watching that, I don't think that's a penalty. Obviously I'll take it. You can take what you can get. I thought Onan went down pretty soft. And if that was called against us, I would have been pretty upset. Now, in the totality of the game, I think the penalty that they drew was also really soft and could have been a makeup call there of, hey, I called this one. I got to call that one. So in my book, it did even out. No blood either side. I think both fan bases are justified in being upset about the penalties that were awarded.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting to kind of go back. We jumped a little sooner. The lineup missing Henderlong, some changes there. It almost seemed like we were in a 4-1-4-1, with Heckenberg kind of playing in front of that back four, and then you had your 4 midfielders, Onan and then Cerro on the left side, and then Farine up top, kind of playing that true striker role. Which I thought he did very well up there. I thought he made the penalty happen. He made the referee make a decision. He was so much quicker than their entire back line, and I think FC Naples knew to try and play a ball over the top to him, and that's what they did. He gets in behind him, and I think I think it was soft, but there's enough contact there where the guy watching it back just kind of shoves him straight in the back. So for me, it's a penalty. Is it a hard penalty, 100% penalty every time? Probably not. But in that game, those conditions, penalty all day. He steps up to the spot, buries it, no problem, and it's 1-0 from there, 20 minutes in. What did you kind of make of the changes? It seemed like that was the big one, and then Mark Torres again stepping into the middle of the midfield with Kevin O'Connor. I thought they both played very well.
Yeah, I think we saw an offensive barrage we haven't seen in a while. So with the changes, we've talked about it all year that Matt Poland's going to adapt to overcome the challenges we're going to face. And, there's a lot of factors. And we've played some tough competition lately. We've played on some tough surfaces. So maybe just being the familiar, a lot of factors changed going into this game. So it's hard to pinpoint exactly which one it was. Um, but I thought that it looked like the guys were playing loose and with some freedom and took some chances on some shots I feel like we haven't seen um, throughout the year. Like that second goal was unbelievable and just kind of a crazy shot. And it's one of those you're thinking it's a wasted chance until it goes in. Um, so I think that there are a lot of things, and I think the squad looked well. I'm not going to be one of those people that is going to overreact and say the team looked better without Henderlong because that's just false. But an opportunity for guys to step up, and they took advantage of it. So I'm excited to see how Poland's going to, reinsert Henderlong and see what type of changes now they're going to adapt when he comes back on Saturday.
Yeah, I've not done too much scouting yet on Miami FC, but another championship side on Saturday should be interesting. I mean, maybe Henderlong just for this game, knowing that you can play Farine up top like that and use his pace, it gives us a whole nother threat. So it's kind of fun to think about either of those. Like if you keep the team exactly the same, and then bringing either of those players off the bench, if you need a difference maker in the last 20, 30 minutes is huge. I also think both of those guys can easily start, and then you can transition them over. But I was overall very impressed with this team. We kind of talked about it briefly. Their goal, you thought it was a soft, never a goal. Did your opinion change after watching the replay at all?
So the two replays I saw were both from behind. So I don't know if there's a replay with a different camera angle. I think the penalty we had, there's a really good camera angle to show the contact. I didn't feel that way with ours. I didn't feel like there was a good enough camera angle that I could make a actual justification. It kind of looks like he gets the ball and the legs up and he kind of runs into the leg. So was there a different camera angle that I didn't see?
No, that's all I mean, I had the different camera angle being at the game, and it kind of happened right in
Right
front
in
of
front of you.
me,
Hmm.
in the beer garden there. And when I saw it, I thought the Omaha player made all the contact,
Hmm.
live. After watching the replay, I can see because the way the camera was kind of looking down at it, I think it was more of I mean, it's soccer's a game of angles, right? And I think
Hmm.
I could see where the referee was like, absolutely a penalty. Judging by the reaction, I was like, oh no, the Omaha player made all the contact. But also, I don't think there's much of a need there to be going in for that challenge either way. Same thing you could say about our penalty, where you put your hands on the player's back, then you assume all the risks of giving
Yep.
up that penalty. I don't think
Yep.
we need to be going in for that challenge. He's going away from goal. I don't think he had much support coming into the box. So I'm fine with it either way. I think it's one of those where if we had better camera angles, it would be nice. That's kind of a complaint USL League One wide. It's tough with two camera angles.
Yeah,
And I
and
don't know where you put the other camera to get
yeah,
a better look at it.
yeah. I think just the fact that ours got called, I do think it's a no-brainer. And again, from our camera angle I had, can't make a decision, even after the replay. But I don't have with the penalty we got, I'm not as upset. But if ours wouldn't have been a penalty, then I would have been upset. It's the even out.
Absolutely,
You know,
yeah. That's
so
kind of all we can ask for is consistency, and it seemed
Mhm.
like we got that to some degree.
I agree. Yeah, I think they're either both penalties or neither are penalties, which contradicts my 4-0 score line. So that's why I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite saying we get the penalty, they lose their penalty.
So after their penalty, I don't think it was shown on the broadcast. It definitely wasn't shown in any of the recaps. But they had a player, Brent Kallman. I don't care if I butcher his name, to be completely honest, because he went over and seemed to shush our entire crowd after they scored a penalty to the equalizer to make it 1-1. Um,
The dreaded
it's
30th minute equalizer. The dreaded.
Yeah, to shush the crowd. Then it seemed like FC Naples targeted him. And I don't know if that was on purpose. It made me look him up, because also FC Naples fans, shout out to them. I mean, we're a very biased podcast, but booing him from that every time he got the ball, it was the whole crowd was booing him. People were asking me, why are we booing him? And I was like, I think he shushed the crowd over there. And then the second he got the ball again, these people that didn't know why they were booing him were now booing him. So it was great mob mentality there. But this is a guy that was playing, he has a pretty solid MLS career, playing for Minnesota United, was playing with Nashville SC last season, playing with Union Omaha this season. And it seemed like he had just kind of was off the pace a little bit. And we took advantage of him. The goal that got called back, it seemed like we kind of bounced the ball over his head and then just gambled off of him. Unfortunate there. I believe it was Cerro who was running through, but then he comes right back after the offside goal and then has a absolutely fantastic finish, taking advantage of him just kind of misplaying a ball, runs right behind him and then finishes it.
Yeah, just to touch on one thing you said, I've not met any players on the team. I have not met our manager. They 100% were targeting him after that. That is absolutely the nature and the DNA of this team. That that's the type of guy that you're going to go after. Not in a malicious or dirty way, but that's a guy that you want to try to show us up on a borderline penalty call in the 30th minute when you're sitting bottom of the table. Um, and like, if he would have done that in the 80th minute, 85th minute, if that was a surefire, stealing points from us, I'm okay with it. Not okay with it in the 30th minute, from the spot. Not okay with that.
Yeah, we in our section we all kind of had a good laugh at him then from that point on that okay, you're going to go do this, you're going to get booed for the rest of the night and you just cost your team a goal because you couldn't handle the pace of Ian Sarro coming down the wing. It made for an entertaining night. I'll just leave it at that. So thank you to Brent Coleman for giving us a fun night. And this is someone who we have absolutely no idea who he is, his whole story. It's just fun. Just some fun banter given the night. And then I think I said last week too, I think some of the most important times are the last 5 minutes of a half and the first 5 minutes of a half because
Mhm.
Omaha's got to be thinking, okay, we're going in 1-1. We kind of got these guys. It's close. We can come back. They had a couple of chances, not really too much. We didn't really have too much though. They seemingly kind of figured out our pace. But then boom, we score. Then they get bailed out by the offside call, which was really close again. I'd love to do some more analysis on that and try and figure out if he actually was offside. But I mean, I think we got to stick with the referee's call there. But then yeah, to score right before halftime, like we did, 45th minute +3. Oh, it felt good.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I agree with you. It's kind of the same thing in basketball. You kind of have the middle 10. You want to close out the last five and start out the first five of the half strong. Um, I think there you're you're looking at really what probably felt going into the locker room like a two-goal swing. So even though we were only up 2-1, Naples is sitting there thinking like, oh, we're in a good spot. We should be up 3-1, but we are still up, 2-1. I think if Omaha gets out of the half after the goal gets disallowed, if they get out of the half 1-1, you have that positive momentum versus that you get bailed out and then just moments later, um, ball doesn't lie. We take the 2-1 lead. Um, and there's things to be said about, if the goal wouldn't have been disallowed, we wouldn't have gotten that goal, all that, and, how sports goes. Um, so really just a big gut punch and then coming out early in the second half to really, you know, that was the icing on the cake. That was it. And Omaha looked lifeless the last 40 minutes. It seemed like it was all Naples down the wire, which is just something that this team seems to do really, really well. They respond to adversity really well, and they don't take the foot off the gas, which is almost counter to how they play because they aren't typically a heavy possession team, but somehow when we have the lead, it's not parking the bus.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird game, right? Because looking at the stats afterwards, I knew Omaha was gonna win the possession battle, but they had 71%
Crazy.
possession, 13 shots, but only 2 shots on target. Which kind of
hmm
I was like looking at the stats afterwards, like is that true? That can't be right. And yeah, they had nine. I mean, I remember them having all sorts of corners, but they didn't really seem to do anything with it. They had 9 corners, 422 accurate passes to our 134. They committed 16 fouls. And the shots number just really threw me off that they had 9 shots not on target, which I did. I was kind of going back in my head like, yeah, they did seem to kind of be shooting from all over and nothing really going for them. They seem to also win most of the 50-50 balls outside of us, knocking the ball long and having our wingers and center forward run onto stuff. They seem to win a lot of the battles in the middle. But then they just didn't really do much with it. It was a weird game in that sense. And then,
hmm
yeah, you're right. We come out 5 minutes after halftime and Onan scores I was thinking heading into halftime, like, oh, that Cerro goal is going to be up for, goal of the week nomination. That was a great goal to chip the keeper out from the angle, like just kind of bounce it into the top corner, or top of the net, like he did. And then Onan comes out and goes, hold my beer. Let me just volley one from the penalty spot on a cutback. Like, oh, that was easily goal of the week. Maybe even a goal of the year candidate, dare we say. But another absolute great strike from him to make it 3-1.
Yeah, when I looked at the app at about the 55th minute, I was blown away by the numbers. It was baffling. I think at that point it was like we had 21% of the percentage. Like it, it's just it really is crazy, and that it's a situation where we are really dangerous when we're tied or winning because teams press a little harder and then we just kill them with the counterattack. It's kind of been our bread and butter. Um, so that's a positive sign that when we get if we can get that first goal, I think we're going to win a lot more games, and I think we're going to struggle in games where we don't score first. I feel like the sample size isn't there to like point to our theory. Um, the Knoxville game they scored in the first half, we ended up losing that 1-0. But and then the Rowdies we answered right away. But the other games I can't recall. I think whoever scored first has won pretty much all of the games, except the first game and maybe one other game this year.
Yeah, it's been when we score first and teams kind of still haven't figured out, like, surely they know, okay, this is their bread and butter, like they're going to hit us on the counter. And you look at that lineup, and like I looked at the lineup and said, oh, we're going to play some really good counterattacking football tonight. And Omaha just kind of left three guys at the back to try and deal with, some of the fastest guys in the league. So it was interesting tactics from them. Yeah, we keep proving we don't need the possession to score. We're happy to have possession, but we don't need the possession to score. And we're just gonna kind of play our game, which has been a lot of fun to see, in my opinion. I'm sure not everyone loves a counterattacking style football, but we here, as a Nottingham Forest fan too, absolutely love it.
Yeah, and it,
So
it, it just it does become an issue though, and we've seen it in you're right, the counter or pointing to how Forest played this year, you saw them have tons of issues when teams got the first goal. We saw it on Sunday when teams parked the bus, not being creative. I do think FC Naples does have a little bit more creativity in them, but that's going to be something to not take lightly is set pieces. Making sure that we continue to develop those and don't rely on the same tactics because as the season goes on, teams will adjust and that's kind of what happened to Forest. They were phenomenal at set pieces early on, and then it kind of died down as the year went on. But it's still, I do think it is a really fun style of football because you go from oh crap, we're gonna get scored on to oh wow, we might be the one putting the ball in the back of the net. So when you got the players, the pace, which I think is going to be another interesting point too, because when you play on some of these fields that aren't well kept that we saw, or the mud game, um, was that in Tennessee? Was that not Knoxville?
Chattanooga.
Chattanooga. Right? Like the counterattack isn't very productive there. But who knows what style really does work when you're playing in a mud pit.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see kind of how teams adapt, and I think we did see a bit of that from Knoxville sitting back and kind of loading up their own box, and then they were able to get the penalty, get the goal, and it turned out that was enough. To see us really respond after those two losses, I was really happy with it. Also, got to give a shout out to Delgado. Late in the game, had a great diving save down to his near post, kept it out. Kind of a shot that I thought was going in. And then watching the replay, it was an absolutely great save. Would have made it 3-2, but at that point, who knows? With about 12 minutes to go, I think, as we were about there. It's just a fantastic save. He's been so solid at the back. And then I've been paying attention a lot more to see him, leading the team. And it's been a lot of fun to see. He's a true organizer, true leader. I think Kevin O'Connor went to take a free kick at midfield, and he's like, Kevin, the wind. And it was a great shout out because I think Omaha had just taken a free kick earlier, and it got picked up in the wind because it was such a windy night. He's been absolutely great. You have a man of the match from this game, Paul? Because I think for me, I've got to go with Max Glasser for man of the match. Had the assist, was so solid at the back, came flying forward, just great all around, kind of an unsung hero. I think he's been there, every game so far this season. Just an absolute fantastic shift by him. Did you have a particular man of the match for this one?
Onan. Did Onan take the penalty? Was he the one that drew it? I think earlier in the podcast you said it was somebody else. I thought it was Onan.
I thought it was Farine. I thought Farine used it. I wrote down Farine.
Okay.
I thought he used his pace to get in.
Okay,
Behind.
well, I'm going to still go with Onan because of the goal. I did miss some of the first half, so I'm going to take the easy answer with the goal, with the great goal. I'm going with Onan. Let's make it.
Yeah, you could easily pick, I think, most of the players. Delgado made a great save. He was so instrumental, I thought, at the back, coming back off suspension. Looking at the FOTMob ratings, everyone's in the green, so everyone was above a 7 based off of the way FOTMob rated. So just an all-around great performance. And we did see a few players named to the USL League One Team of the Week, which was so well-deserved by them, in my opinion. Whole... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I want to give a shout out to kind of the USL, CBS, Golazo network. I've had people sending me, I had a buddy send me some clips of the game and be like, is that Naples' stadium? Like, that place looks sick. I am in disbelief by how much I see of the USL League One, on my feed, or people sending it to me. So I do a really great job promoting the league.
Yeah, it's been impressive to see. And I don't know if it's just us because we're looking out for it more, but it does seem like we're seeing more and more USL kind of everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I did have somebody. I was on the cruise this weekend wearing my FC Naples shirt to dinner, and I did have somebody ask me what team that was and where they were from. So spreading the love of the game, both home and abroad.
Love it. Yeah, we sent some FC Naples gear to our family that's still in England, and I think they've been wearing it quite proudly. So we're back in Jägermeister Cup action this weekend, Saturday night, 7:30 against the Miami FC at Pitbull Stadium. A first away day for many that didn't make that Sarasota trip. Should be a lot of fun. You have a score prediction for us back in the Jägermeister Cup? You ready to break the Jägermeister out of the freezer again?
Ready to break it out. I will be, unfortunately, out at work, so I will not be able to make the trip, which is crazy. I spent so much time on the East Coast, but the one weekend I am gone for work, unable to make it. I'm going to go 2-1 in full time. We're not going to see extra time this week. I think we get the job done. It's basically a home game for us. I anticipate there will be more FC Naples fans over there. This isn't the Inter Miami. Some people might be thinking Messi will be on the pitch. He will not be. This is their little brother. So I'm going 2-1 Naples in 90 minutes.
Yeah, I love it. We've actually outdrawn them attendance-wise the past few weeks. They're coming off a tough 2-1 loss to Birmingham Legion. Not the Birmingham City that Tom Brady owns, different one. Seemed like their whole back line really struggled. So I think I'm going to go 3-1 again. I think we're able to burn their back line using our pace again and just kind of take it to them. Excited to play another USL Championship side, see how we stack up. We've already knocked one off. We technically drew with the Rowdies. We'll see them again in July. But yeah, it should be another fun one. we'll have to be back to recap it, and hopefully we've still not lost to a USL Championship side this time next week. Paul, anything else you want to add before we go?
No, I think it's going to be exciting Saturday. Another great opportunity to play a team in the league above us. I guess we could call it a cup set. Not really sure. Still haven't fully understood the term, but good to get back to the ways against Omaha, right? That was a team that hasn't been great this year, but we treated them with respect and took care of business. That's kind of how I expect us to kind of carry out the rest of the year. Everybody's a threat. Any given Saturday, any given Sunday, they should make a movie with that title. Anybody can beat anybody. So showing teams the respect they deserve, but still going out and getting points.
Yeah, I'm all for that as well. Let's go take it to Miami FC this weekend. Go claim Pitbull Stadium as our own. Excited for another chance to take on a championship side. See how we stack up, because it seems like we've been stacking up against everyone we've played so far. And yeah, I'm really excited for the next home game when they announce that leaving the stadium, that they'll be back June 14th against Chattanooga Red Wolves. Ready for that rematch, man. That's going to be might not be able to. Yeah, I might not be able to bring my son to that one. That might be a little too violent for him. But that's going to be a real fun rematch. We've got Miami FC, and then we go to Greenville June 7th, which will be fun because they've been historically a pretty good side, but have been kind of struggling as of late. So that one should be another fun one. Looking forward to the rest of the season, man. This game's got me excited again. Absolutely in love with this team. Love getting to talk about them, and love that you all are listening. Keep getting in touch with the show. If there's anything you want us to talk about, anything you don't want us to talk about, please, message us on Instagram, send us an email. We're on Bluesky now. Send us a Bluesky message. Follow us on all those platforms so you can stay up to date. But yeah, we absolutely love having you along this journey with us. Love hearing from you. Please get in touch with the show, and we will see you soon.